Well, let me welcome you to the second conversation this afternoon. Now, you know that there is a contentious development unfolding in Ondo State. The state governor, senior advocate of Nigeria, Akeredolu, about 9 days ago, gave orders that herders who have been staying inside the forest reserves and who have no licenses to stay there should vacate within 7 days. He predicated that order on the seeming linkage between kidnappings, muggings, murders, with some elements within the herding community. In fact, there are stories that there are some distances in Ondo State that you cannot cover late in the evening because of the activities of these people. But there have been three reactions. First, from the presidency. Garba Shehu, speaking for the presidency, said that the governor's order was unhelpful, that he should rather dialogue, and that it could create a crisis. Again, the Northern Elders Forum have gone to the extent of saying that those herders are Nigerians and are free to live anywhere in the country. There are some other voices supporting the remaining of those herders in those forests. But is it all there is to it? Politics of it. Isn't there the legal dimension to the governor's orders? Well, this afternoon I'm conversing with Taiwo Abbey. Taiwo Abbey is a lawyer. By sheer coincidence, Taiwo Abbey is also from Ondo State. Taiwo, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me on your program.
Is there a legal dimension? Is there a legal support for Governor Akeredelu's order asking these herders to vacate the forest reserve if they have no licenses?
Thanks once again for having me on your program. I want to say, by the Constitution of Nigeria, that is the 1999 Constitution as amended, going by the fourth alteration, the President of Nigeria is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, while the state governors in their respective states are the Chief Security Officers. That is how the Constitution of Nigeria is. To go to the question you have asked me, I want to say, with all due respect, that the directives of the state governor made Arakuni Akeredolu, if I'm not mistaken, by Monday last week,
Monday
18th, as legal backing. People that have been commenting one way or the other should go back to know, if they are not aware, that there is a law, forest law in Ondo State, that has predated the coming in of the government of Arakuni Akeredolu. If I'm not mistaken, around 1983-84. It has been in place, because I remember when people like us are young, when the forest rangers that are employed or appointed by the state government always arrest those people that are misusing the forest reserves. Now, to come to the directives of the state governor, I want to say there is nothing illegal, there is nothing unconstitutional in these directives, because it is even incumbent on the state governor, who has the onerous responsibility and duties to protect lives and properties of people, not only citizens of Ondo State, anybody, whether Nigerians or non-Nigerians, that is within the territory called Ondo State. That responsibility is on the state governor. And if the state governor does not do what the Constitution allows him, people will complain. Are you not the chief security officer of your state? Why is it that they will go back to history? This and this happened. And of recent, Chief Fashoranti lost his daughter. We shouted. Our elder statesman, Chief Olufalaye, a former secretary to the military government, a former minister of finance, cried out, not once, but twice now. The first time was when he was kidnapped. Some people said he paid ransom. Those ones we cannot confirm. The second time is just last year, when he ran out of his farm that I know is not too far from the state capital. The place has been overtaken by herdsmen. The elder statesman now prefers to stay at home. Again, we remember another traditional ruler who was just kidnapped after they finished their meeting with the governor last year. Also last year, nothing happened. And people have been complaining. So it is this incessant criticism, complaints that has gotten to His Excellency, the governor of the state, that made him to take action, which he has the right under the law to take.
But there is also a counter-argument that as a Nigerian, under the law, you are free to reside anywhere in Nigeria and do your business. The Northern Elders Forum, for instance, has said that no, the herders are Nigerians and are free to live anywhere in Nigeria and do their business. Why should the governor deprive them of that constitutionally guaranteed right to live and do their business in Ondo State? Don't they have a constitutional or legal basis for their position?
Yes, I would say the Northern Elders Forum are right in saying the Constitution of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, gives the right to all Nigerians, even non-Nigerians that are in Nigeria, to move freely and do their business in any part of the country, the 36 states, including the Federal Capital Territory. But they must bear in mind that the business allowable, whether within the confines called Nigeria or the individual states, which are federating parts of Nigeria, are the legitimate business. The governor is not asking whether you are non-citizens of Ondo State, non-Nigerians, to leave the state. No, the governor's directives are explicit. Non-licensed people who are not supposed to be in the forestry, people who have no business at all with the forest reserves, should exit it within 7 days. Are we saying the governor cannot do that in enforcing the law that I said is already established, that is in place, an extant law? So I think we need to educate ourselves. We need to leave emotions if we really want to fight on the broader level security in Nigeria, and at the state level the seeming security threats, challenges that we are having now. The governor's directives, if I can recollect, is if you are not licensed to operate in the forestry, exit, leave the forestry. He didn't say leave Ondo State. He said leave, go, get out of the forest reserves. Again, there is a law banning night grazing. He said at a particular, I don't know whether it is from 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, you don't just rear cattle everywhere. And the other one is people that are below 18 years of age. These directives are all supported by the law that is extant in Ondo State. So if anybody has anything, any issue against those directives of the state governor, it is incumbent on the person. If you think you have the license and you are being driven out, the law courts are there. Because if any directives affects me as an individual, that is why the Constitution established the courts at various levels. Is it the High Court? Is it the Federal High Court? The Court of Appeal? The Supreme Court? They are all there for anybody to challenge whatever infringes on your own rights. So I would expect that anybody that is licensed to operate in the forest reserves that believes that the state governor's directives is affecting him to ventilate or vindicate his rights in the law court. By going to court.
Now I want to zero in on alternatives being canvassed by two sets of people. First is the Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, my younger friend, and Meeti Allah in Ondo State. Both of them have said, Garba says that this directive should have exploited the dialogue option. Then Meeti Allah said that they were not consulted. Is dialogue necessary in enforcing a law? Is consultation with an interested party necessary in enforcing an existing law? Let me be a little bit extreme. Does the police need to dialogue with armed robbers before police can arrest them?
With all due respect to the Senior Special Advisor to the President, I believe that if we are going to fight crime and criminality, we will be getting it wrong. If everything we boil down to there must be dialogue, there must be dialogue. The question now is, do you dialogue with criminals or violators of laws when the laws are there to be enforced? As far as I'm concerned, what needs to be done is what the governor has done. The only thing you can say is when there are issues of insecurity and challenges here and there, you can call people for a meeting. But that does not derogate in any way from the powers and the duties of the governor as the chief law enforcers of the state or security officers of the state to enforce extant subsisting laws. It is not. If the governor thinks, and in his own wisdom, that dialogues should be exploited, he can do that. But I would be surprised that anybody will advise, whether it is Ondo State governor or any governor whatsoever, that the best way to solve issues of threat to lives and property is by dialoguing with criminals. I'll be so surprised. Somebody told me, I don't want to mention the state governor, that it was because of the wrong step he took in dialoguing with so-called criminals of the state, kidnappers, bandits, that has excavated the issue of threat to security of lives and property. And that, I think the governor is in one of the northern states. Okay. And I think they are changing their strategies. You don't dialogue with people that are hell-bent in violating, in breaching the laws of the state. You enforce the law as it is, because the law, whether it's a state law or it's a federal law, is a respecter of nobody.
Taiwo, let me take a little bit away from legalese.
Yes, sir.
Let us dwell a little bit on politics. I know you're not a politician.
I'm not.
I apologize to you.
Yes, sir.
There has been this narrative that whoever is responsible for the kidnapping in this country is gradually spreading his trade, his threat across the length and breadth of Nigeria with the objective aim of overrunning this country in an incremental manner. They give example. And look at the movement of Boko Haram. it has virtually taken over the whole of Northeast. Look at the movement of the so-called bandits. It has taken over almost the whole of Northwest. They have entered into the north-central zone of Nigeria. Niger State, they occupy it today. They are a threat in Benue State. And somehow they have infiltrating Southwest in a gradualist but incremental manner. Are you worried that treating this incremental enveloping of the country with kid gloves, with near but subtle support and justification, could create an existential threat for Nigeria?
Thank you. You will recall that these narratives you have just given is actually what gave rise to the meetings among the governors of the Southwest, looking at what is happening in the northeastern part of Nigeria. It has almost been overrun by Boko Haram and their cohorts. Looking at also the northwest part states of Nigeria, bandits, is it Zamfara State? Is it Sokoto State? Is it Kebbi? Just name it. Bandits are operating in daylight. They don't even allow night to fall. Their meetings, there was a unanimity that urgent steps must be taken.
And the outcome was?
And the outcome was Amotekun. That was what gave rise to it. It's not that they just wanted to form a security outfit in order to immortalize their name. No! These are the scenarios. And what gradually is infiltrating into the Southwest. And you remember there were, even from this same senior special assistants, UPROAR, this and this, but the governors, through the instrumentality of the law, they need to do something as the chief security officers of the state. And I can tell you, as we are speaking now, there is hardly any state in the Southwest that has not passed the security law, the security bills into law. So Amotekun is operating legally now. And that is why you can still see some semblance of security pervading the Southwest. Southwest would have been overrun by insecurity, just like we have in the northeastern states and the northwestern states. So I believe that if this is not nipped in the bud, it will to a greater extent affect the existence of the entity called Nigeria.
Let me come in immediately, because as we are conversing, there are unconfirmed gossips, there are grumblings in ONDO State by those who don't support the governor's moves, and there's a little bit of some instability. What do you say to these people who are trying to cause disaffection, who maybe, it's not a riot, but some grumblings? What do you say to them as a final word?
My final word to them is, if you cannot obey the law of a state or a place where you are carrying on your business, there are other places you can go. Nigerians cannot go to Saudi Arabia and say because there is United Nations law of that says men, women can move around every part of the world. Individual country has their own law. You cannot come to Nigeria as a foreigner and say because you have the right to move, you have been granted visa. The fact that Nigeria gave you visa is just to enter, but you must comply with our law. The fact that Nigerian Constitution 1999 gives the right to all Nigerians to move around in any part of the country does not derogate from the fact that you must comply with the local laws. I've been in Kano for quite some time, and I know that there is this Ishba group that enforces the local laws. The one that comes to mind is public sale of alcoholic beverages. You can't go to Kano and say you are a Nigerian and you can move around and exhibit openly. Even if you are going to do it, you are going to do it secretly, because the Ishba will enforce the law of the state. So people that are not too comfortable with the directives, they have alternatives, because what the governor has done is not outside the purview of his powers, his duties, or his obligations as the chief law officer of the state.
Okay, in the past 20 minutes or thereabouts, I've been conversing with Barrister Taiwo Abbey. Taiwo Abbey, of course, is a lawyer. He's from ONDO State. It was just a matter of coincidence, in fact. And we've been discussing issues arising from the order by the ONDO State governor, asking non-licensed herders to vacate the forest reserves in that state within 7 days, and matters arising from it. Taiwo, I want to thank you for coming to the conversation.
Professor, for having me.
Well, let the conversation continue this time next week. My name never changes. It remains Mwabueze Njoko. Good afternoon.